Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the co-founders of Conquer Padel, Enrique, Gracia, and Barry Falcon. Guys, how are you today?
Oh, we're great. Nice to be here, Frank.
Awesome. Great to see you again, Barry. Enrique, so nice to meet you.
Oh, thanks for having us.
All right. Well, Enrique, let's start with you. This is your baby, right? So first off, we have to get something out of the way here. There's a big debate on how to even pronounce the name. Is it Conquer Padel or is it Paddle? Which one is it?
This is an ongoing debate, man. I call it Padel. It just has a cooler and different ring to it. That's how people in the U.S. mostly like to call it. Paddle in the rest of the world is Padel here in the U.S.
Okay, great for clearing that up. Now, would you guys tell us exactly what this sport is?
Well, I'll give you a little background. Enrique is the big player, but a little background. It's kind of like a combination of squash, racquetball, and tennis. And so it's in an enclosed room like racquetball, glass walls, where you could hit the ball off the wall, but it also has a net in the middle, like tennis, and you play with a large, and the debate is either a racket or a paddle. That's another debate, and kind of like a deflated tennis ball. So you serve the ball in underhand, and then you're off to the races. And if the ball bounces once, you could hit it off the wall to get over the net.
Okay, fair enough. And so, Enrique, you played this game for many years. What's your history with playing this?
I will first like to add to Barry's description of the sport as to it's an easy decision to get off the couch and off your phone and onto something that's not only good for you, right, fitness-wise, but it's super, super fun. And that's one of the big things that I love about the sport.
And how long have you been playing?
I've been playing for about 5 years. I started playing in the city where I'm from, Hermosillo, Mexico, where one of our partners built the first club there with 3 courts. I was invited a few times. I at first was a little skeptic about it. Padel just had a weird name to it, really. After like the 4th or 5th time, I decided to go try it out. And I remember exactly how I felt the first time I stepped onto the court. I just fell in love with it. I was addicted right after I got out. I was talking to the guy managing the place, seeing how can I play more? My friends are playing once a week, but I want to be here every day.
Well, you evidently loved it a whole lot because you wanted to start a whole business around this sport.
Yeah, that's an amazing dream that is coming true. I've always started businesses from the opportunity, financial aspect of it. This is the first time I was first in love with something and passionate about something and turn it into a business. So I am really, really grateful to be part of this here in the U.S.
Interesting. All right. Well, Barry, how did you guys meet?
Well, interesting. Enrique and some of the other partners reached out to me at iFranchise Group to help them franchise the business. So I said, okay, I'm a sports guy, right? And I played pickleball, I played tennis, I played racquetball. And so, okay, well, what's this Padel thing all about? And so they wanted to franchise the business. And I said, okay, we can help you do that. And then I flew to Phoenix to meet these guys and fell in love with the concept, fell in love with the guys themselves, Enrique and Tom, another one of our partners, and just so ethical business guys, down to earth, and said, let's go dominate the country. So their vision was, we want to be the first to franchise and we want to be the household name in Padel. So I liked the concept so much, I invested in the concept and became one of the founding partners and said, let's rock and roll. So we're doing that. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm heading up the franchise part. Enrique's heading up the corporate locations, and we're going quickly, right? We have all our systems in place, website's done. We have our sales organization in place, and we're excited. And so the first location, as Enrique mentioned, will soft launch in July, grand opening in August sometime. And we already have some other buildings lined up in different cities, Salt Lake, outside of Denver, where we're going to open up some additional corporate locations.
Wow. Barry, you and I go way back, and I was a client of iFranchise Group many, many years ago. I know you've been presented with probably hundreds of brands.
Correct.
Time as a franchise consultant. But this is the first time I've ever talked with you from a standpoint that you're an investor in a brand, a co-founder, and really running with this. It's more than just the sport. Why this brand of any brand that's come across your desk?
Well, I mean, it's about the people. It's about the people. It's about the community, and it's about the business model. And so, I'm a little older than most of the guys, and I said, okay, I've sold companies as you have, Frank, and I said, okay, I'm doing this for fun. My kids will hopefully benefit when there's an exit if I'm not around. But the guys are just fantastic, and you kind of go through the interview process. You kind of meet their families, and then you say, do you want to be part of this family? And I love the business model, of course, and I like being the leader. And so we're going to be the leader because we're the first one to franchise in the country, and we're going to go fast. And so I saw the opportunity, and I said, okay, let's go. Let's do it. And we've been working feverishly for a long time, and we got a couple of franchise prospects very close to signing.
Nice.
On a multi-territory deal. It's not signed yet, and as we all know, until the money's in the bank, it's not signed, but it's close. They've been to Discovery Day, and they've seen our facility already in Tempe. We've met with them numerous times, and we're just kind of going through the final agreements right now. So it's exciting times for us.
It is. Enrique, do you have any idea how lucky and fortunate you are? Because franchising is really difficult. I know, Barry, you would attest to this, and you probably told Enrique, but to have somebody like Barry on your team, you kind of have the inside track, man.
I am really, I was going to say lucky, but I will say blessed. We put a lot of heart and prayer into this, and meeting Barry is no coincidence. Even though we have him, it's an arduous process. It's a complex legal and structural process, but we got it done pretty quickly, and we got a very good team, not only in-house, but also a set of partners that are just going to help streamline this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Well, as I see it, obviously my background is, of course, in the sports industry as well, and franchising. And I kind of think about the challenges that I would have faced if I was a founder of this company. How do we get this, not just this brand, but how do we get this sport promoted, which is going to be new to people, and to really get them to take to the sport and start getting some critical mass? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think one is, I'd say 60, 70% of the people, even my friends, I tell them about it and they say, what's that? Right. And that's unless you're in that circle of, the sport, a lot of people haven't heard, oh, I saw a video on YouTube or something like that. And I always tell them to do that. And so part of our mission is to educate people on what's the sport. And by doing that, having clubs, we're talking about a roadshow with a portable court to potentially go around the country and do in different cities and kind of put a court together there for a little while. A little more challenging than I-9 Sports. You can go out there and get some grass and go, and you it was very successful. We need a 33 by 66 enclosure that weighs 12, 15,000 pounds, but we're working on that also. But a lot of it is education. In Tempe, we're close to ASU University, and so we'll get some of the college kids over. We'll start explaining the game to them, and we'll give people, a couple of weeks or a month free membership, and then we'll be out promoting this sport. We'll be at the IFA. We attended IFA last year. hopefully we could attend IFA again this year and get people out to a club somewhere, and we'll have a mobile court in Las Vegas where they can play.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Enrique, this is, well, I think what makes this so exciting is that you're first, right, with this sport and bringing it to franchising. And you're in I wouldn't say you're competing with pickleball head to head, but let's face it, there are going to be probably similar people that will be playing pickleball, maybe playing padel. Is that correct?
Yes, there's definitely some crossover. I don't see it so much as competition, but as a complement. I believe the first to come over are going to be ex-tennis players and younger pickleball players, people that have tried pickleball and didn't find it either physical enough or challenging enough. And Padel, checks that box really good. It's so much fun and so much more athletic. If you want to go to a higher level, it's a little bit more challenging, just like tennis is. So, yeah, I think it's more of a compliment than a competition.
Yeah, and you're separating yourself from the pickleball, centers that are out there, because I know there's always another pickleball, location opening up. There's so many pickleball franchises now that there weren't, any 3 years ago, right? And this really also differentiates you and gives people an opportunity to play a different sport and give them a little variety in their life.
Yeah, and kids can play as well. You get the youth is the future of any sport, right? So
Right.
The kids get out there. It's another fun thing to do birthday parties instead of the bowling alley. As kids that age, Enrique has 3 boys and they play. They're out there playing and competing. And so this is a great social thing. It's all about the community. And so you get kids' birthday parties, 8 years old, 9 years old. They'll go out there and play. We have an instructor. We'll have many instructors, but they can go out there and have a good time, get some exercise. And some people that are a little older that want to get off the couch and try something new. It's fun. It's a little more running than pickleball or tennis, especially tennis doubles, but it is a lot of fun. And, you have an AstroTurf is on the floor versus concrete, so it's easier on your legs. So
Nice.
You can play for a few hours, and it's not like being on a hard tennis court or pickleball court. It's a little more forgiving on your body, although there's definitely some running.
It sounds like it. Enrique, let's go back to your background a little bit. So what were you doing before this?
So in fruits and vegetables, I built a company that I started in Riverside, California, over 12 years. I was shipping
I love it.
across the US and the world, Japan, other parts of Asia. Yeah, so I started in sales and then moved on to build my own company.
Okay, so I'd love to hear more about this inspiration. So you play padel, you love it, and do you get a group of investors together, friends? Like, how do you put this whole package together where it leads you to the iFranchise Group and ultimately Barry?
So you were asking earlier about differentiators between pickleball and padel. And one big differentiator is the social aspect. In padel, where even indoors is not so loud, you have encouraging spaces that invite you to stay and hang out with people. That's a big part of what we're doing. We're not just building courts to come play and then go somewhere else or go play and go home. Here it's just like they are in Mexico, there are networking hubs, there are community hubs where sometimes people go and hang out Wednesday nights to watch the game or Friday nights to just meet with friends and not even play, man. That's a big, big difference between other sports and this sport. Not only because it's played in doubles, pickleball has that as well, but since it's not so loud, it's really not loud at all inside. You're really comfortable in staying, and the space has to invite for that. So when I decided to do this in the US, I knew I had to be in the area where I wanted to develop it. So Phoenix, and since there's no padel, there's one court where it's hard to get a reservation at. What was I going to do? Well, pickleball is really the closest sibling to padel. So I started playing pickleball to meet people. And I made some great connections. One of our main real estate brokers, I made playing pickleball. And that's how I met our partner, Tom. He's a pickleball coach. And I asked, hey, can I get a lesson here at one of the clubs I was playing? And Tom shows up, which again, another match made in heaven. And he says, Enrique, I've been trying to convince my friends, my investor friends, to invest in Padel. That's really where the future is. It works so much better as a financial model. So let's talk, right? He came on board as a consultant first, and that eventually evolved into him coming on board as a partner. And it was really Tom's vision to franchise. Tom said, Enrique, I'm in this because this is a franchise model. I'm in this for the franchising. So soon after, or right after Tom came on board, we just started looking for the right franchising partner, the right franchising firm that'll help us through the process. We knew it could be done in-house, but we knew we'd rather have the right firm, the right people, on it. And after interviewing a couple, I think it was three options that we found, we met Barry. And that's when we knew we were with the right person and the right team with high franchises.
So Barry, when they first came to you, I assume you didn't know what Padel was, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I might have heard the name, but I wasn't sure which way to pronounce it, just like everybody else. Then I did my research, of course, and looked at looked around the world, because Padel is really a global sport. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport, maybe in the U.S., but Padel by far is the fastest growing sport on a global basis. Really just coming to the U.S. So 4 or 5 years behind pickleball. So I did my research and I looked in and said, how many clubs are there? And if there were a few clubs in the country, they were all outside. And I said, okay, outside is great, but in Arizona and Florida and other places, the weather is a big factor. So put this inside so you can play year round. That was the answer, right? Now you could have some outdoor things and have them covered, but even where our location is in Tempe, I think Enrique sent me the thermometer the other day. It was 108 degrees. So playing at that temperature is not so fun outside, right? So playing at 74 degrees inside with no sun is nice. So I did my research, right? Asked a lot of questions, and then I said, okay, this brand is going to go quickly and grow quickly, just like when you get another new brand in franchising. There's 4,000 of them out there, but there's always some that 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 in a year in different segments that take off, right? For whatever reason. And I said, okay, I'm going to be part of this one and we're going to make it take off, right? And, we'll figure out our exit strategy when the time's right, but now we're just getting started and we have very, very aggressive goals in the US and Canada.
And what are we looking at? So let me step back for a moment. Enrique, you guys are opening your first location right now. Can you swing the camera around real quick, maybe? Let's see what you got under construction.
Yes, we're making progress on the wellness area and the restrooms and the bar, which is back there. This is where the course will be. It's 5 courts with lots of social area in between them, reception, pro shop. We just got the sound system installed. Fun music is important in a padel club. So yeah, we're going to be opening in August 1st.
Enrique, why don't you give a little more detail about the wellness area? I think that's really important.
So researching the success and all the cases of study of padel around the world, where it's very mature in some countries like in Spain and Argentina and Sweden, we saw that the need from communities is not only social areas, which is what we have in Mexico, but also wellness and, spaces that not only offer a fun environment for you to play and work out, but also for you to do things that are good for your body, that are going to allow you to keep playing for a long time. So that's where wellness comes in, recovery. We will have cold plunges, separate and private for men and for women, red light therapy rooms, saunas, stretch areas. That's just to add to the overall customer experience.
Interesting. So this really is it's a wellness community that you're building here. It's almost as if you go to some of these fitness centers where, of course, everything's built around the machines. You're building this around the courts themselves with all of the other ancillary items that for wellness and community, it sounds like.
Yeah, and also, people are going to come there and maybe they want to relax and maybe they want to work, right? So yeah, of course you have Wi-Fi and laptops, and then we have a what I'm going to call the Superman phone booth, right? Because we have a phone booth that's bigger than that. It's really nice and fancy, but you can close it. You can go inside and have a phone call when no one else has to listen to all your stuff. So we'll have that as well. So a business person that's out maybe playing during lunch and then he wants to do some emails and have a couple of phone calls, he could, he can relax there. He can go inside the phone booth, so to speak. He's got a nice work area and it's soundproof, right? So he doesn't have to hear what's going on outside and everybody doesn't have to hear his conversation.
How big is the location, or how big is this one going to be?
It's 23,000 square feet, and we'll have 5 courts.
And is that going to be you think this prototype will be your typical, or do you plan on having other facilities at different sizes? What do you think?
They'll mostly be between 5 and 7 courts. That's the sweet spot from a financial standpoint, but also from a community standpoint. This is a retail commercial space. The rest, the one coming is Lehigh, Utah, and North Phoenix. Those are industrial. It's easier to find spaces that fit the height requirements and the calm spacing at industrial spaces. So those are going to be most likely between 6 and 7, more than 5.
Okay. And what about the business model? Are you looking for this to be a membership model primarily with people that can play, come in just for the day?
It's a mix of both. We will offer memberships for people that are going to be playing regularly. Really, if you're playing more than once a week, it makes a lot of sense to become a member. If you're just dropping in, if you're visiting from out of town, you're going to be able to just walk in. We'll have a drop-in fee for that. But we're also going to offer lots of programming. The biggest barrier of entry when Padel is available in a new area is, who do I play with? How do I get other 3
Sure.
guys to be able to play at the same time that I can play? So for clubs to offer open play, round robins, and just organized play, it's really, really important. We're planning on having that every day here, every single day, 7 days a week during the morning and the evenings, where you can just show up with your racket, play, meet some other people. After you meet others, then people start organizing their own matches.
Okay. And so what's going to be the investment range, Barry, on the FDD to open a location?
1 to 2 million. And so it's close to $1 million. And the big variable is, does the building have HVAC? So if it has the heating and air conditioning in there, you could probably be in for way less than $1 million. So realistically, it's 1 to 2 million, depending on the build out. How many courts? The key factor, as Enrique mentioned, ceiling height is really important. So pickleball gets away with 18-foot ceilings, maybe 20. We would like 24 and above. So because the balls you lob and the ball bounces and you can hit it down high and it can go outside the court. So we're looking at 26-foot clear ceiling height at least. And then the column spacing is important, so you can put the columns in the right spot outside the courts so they don't have any effect, because the court is completely enclosed, has 2 entrances, 1 on each side, but column spacing is important. And then we look for good demographics in our locations. So, we're working very closely with a real estate company, a national real estate company. And so we're looking buildings for us and then for our franchisees. But we want to be in a community, and we're going to have lessons and, as Enrique mentioned, drills and training, because people are going to walk in and say, I want to try this. So we'll have paddles to rent and balls and coaches there. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. What do you guys think about who your ideal franchisee is going to be?
Yeah, well, somebody that loves sports and somebody that's potentially a multi-unit operator in another business in the fitness category, right? So somebody that owns Anytime Fitnesses, somebody that owns Orange Theory, somebody that owns 10 Title Boxing. A lot of those multi-unit operators that have a lot of units in the fitness sector, a wellness sector, those are potential franchisees for us. could be an exec with a check, that I call it, a guy that just left his company, got a big severance package. But, does he know anything about Padel? Has he learned about it? Or he might just see the next new trend and say, I want in, and he hires a general manager. But, high net worth individuals, multi-unit operators, people that really like wellness and fitness, we're not targeting food people, right? We'll have a grab and go food, but this is not a restaurant type concept with a full kitchen, hood and all that stuff. It's grab and go, beer and wine, healthy snacks.
Okay. And what do you expect training and support to look like? I would imagine the marketing is going to be so critical since you're introducing a sport into a community.
Yeah, well, a lot of course, social media, internet, a lot of pay-per-click advertising in a city, direct mail in a city when we start to launch in that city. So we have to educate people who we are, what we do, and then about the sport. But just to wind the clock back a little, I started a company called Shelf Genie, and we're making pull-out drawers for kitchens, baths, and family rooms. And we had to educate the public on that they didn't realize in a retrofit model that you can change your shelves to drawers. And we did that. And when I sold the company, we had 165 locations, and we're making 12,000 drawers a month. And so we're going to educate people on Padel. They're going to come in. They're going to have corporate events, team building events. They're going to have birthday parties. They're going to have social things. And we're going to kind of educate the community so Conquer Padel becomes a household word.
Where do you think this is going to go over the next 5 years? What's the dream?
You've been asking, what does the sport need for it to grow and to get established? The biggest thing it really needs is just get people onto a court. Once people try it out, most people will be coming back. And the biggest challenge then becomes, how do we get people in court? So you gotta grow it to where it's available within at least a half an hour radius of anybody or most people in the US. So our vision is to make that happen, is to build enough clubs across the US. And can you do that on your own for as strong as a group we have? It'll take a long time. The best way to do that is through franchising, and that's where we're looking for franchising partners, because we see this is not only a great business model, but it's also a business that promotes community, promotes social engagement, and promotes health. So it's something, again, like you said, I'm pinching myself because I'm building something that actually contributes to wellness and to the improvement of quality of life of people.
All right. And so with that said, Barry, are you getting people inquiring about opening a Conquer Padel already?
Yes, we do. We're using a company called Frandevco. They're part of the iFranchise group of family of companies, and they're our sales agent. So they're the FSO on the deal, and we have prospects, and we're talking to folks on a pretty regular basis.
And so what's the process? You've got this first location, this company owned, that's going to be opening first. What do you think is going to be that lag time before you're going to be able to award and start building out the first franchise?
Well, we hope to award the first franchise by next week, and they're looking in the Northeast. And so hopefully very soon we'll have multiple locations in the Northeast.
Wow. All right. Enrique, this question's for you. I know it's a loaded question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why is now a great time for people to join Conquer Padel and be part of the franchise?
It's the fastest growing sport in the world, and it's only really just getting started in the US. So anybody that comes in now, you'll be an early adopter in a sport that is really going to be established here within 5 or 10 years. It's not going to happen fast like it did in other countries because of those real estate entry barriers. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing if you have the right team with the right real estate partner, just like we have. That's why it's a good opportunity.
Awesome. All right. Well, Barry, if someone was interested in opening a Conquer Padel, where would they go?
ConquerPadel.com, right on the website. All the details are there. The franchise website's there. You can fill out the form. You pick up the phone and call us. We'd love to talk to anybody about it, and we hope then they can come visit us in Tempe.
Sweet. All right. Last question for you guys. I do one last question called the franchise tip jar because the franchise community is so generous with sharing of tips and tricks and strategies along the way. So I'd ask you guys this: if your future franchisees, if they can hear one message from you today, the founder before unit number one, what would you want them to know about who they're partnering with? Enrique, that one's for you.
They're partnering with people, with a group of people that are not only passionate about the sport, but that share the same values. And to me, values and principle is the biggest thing that defines us as a group. So that's who you're partnering with.
Nice. And Barry, you're the franchise consultant expert. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I ditto what Enrique said. It's all about people. And in life, you want to have your circle of friends and business people, of people that you can trust, you like, and respect. And so we have a great organization, and our conduit for community and staying well in fitness happens to be Padel. So it's just the kind of like franchising is a distribution model. Padel is a distribution model for us to get people off the couch, get them out, get some exercise, have some competition, and also a very good business model.
Awesome. Well, Barry, I know you wouldn't put your name and resources behind something that you didn't believe in. So that says a lot.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to getting you out on the court real soon.
Well, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Enrique. Great meeting you. I look forward to seeing the growth of Conquer Padel. This is awesome.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks for having us.
See you on the court.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.